Hey guys, Mila Clarke Buckley, the Hangry Woman here, and today I'm going to talk about tips that I use to manage my blood sugar without losing my mind. Before we get started, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you like videos about diabetes. I myself am living with latent autoimmune diabetes in adults. It's a slow progressing form of type 1 diabetes, and I make tons and tons of videos about living with diabetes, the basics of diabetes, what I've learned as somebody who's a patient, and just kind of opening up the door to have the conversation. Diabetes is so stigmatized, and so sometimes people are afraid to talk about it. I am not one of those people who's afraid to talk about it, and I'm here for it anytime. So if you love those things, be sure to subscribe. You can also join my channel as a member if you'd like, and that comes with really fun and special perks. All right, and with that, let's get straight into the video. One of the first things I try to do for my blood sugar management is that I am always staying on a schedule and keeping a schedule. So I write down and put into my calendar what times I need to take my medicine. I put in my little slot for exercise. I have even on my calendar a little place that has when I should take my lunch break, because I want to make sure that I'm actually taking those moments of pause throughout the day. So whether you're a person who loves pen and paper or a person who loves digital tools, you can kind of find a time and a way to schedule in the things that you have to do for diabetes. And I really like doing that because it seems overwhelming at first to actually see all the things that you have to do for it on either your calendar or in your agenda. But then when it boils down to it, it keeps you accountable and it helps you remember. I know that sometimes I can get deep into my work, and then by the time I look up, it's been 4 or 5 hours and I haven't eaten anything. I haven't taken any sips of water. So it's a nice little reminder and a nice little bump and a nudge, I would say, that really helps me just remember the things that I have to do. It also helps me keep a little bit of a checklist, because sometimes the days move so fast that I don't remember if I took my medicine in the morning, or did I forget something that I needed to do? Or I have once weekly Ozempic, so and I take it every Sunday. So by the time Sunday rolls back around, sometimes I'm like, oh shoot, I totally forgot to take it, or oh, I didn't even remember that I should take it. I can't believe it's the next Sunday already. So things like that and kind of keeping a schedule and a calendar were really helpful to me in terms of just managing and just being that little fallback for me in case I needed a reminder. Another thing I do is I book my diabetes appointments in advance. So when I'm at the primary care doctor or I'm at the endocrinologist, I make sure to book my next appointment right then and there in the office, and then I stick it in my calendar so that I know it's a day that I already have blocked off. If not, it makes it easy to skip appointments or to forget to book or to not have the time in between that I need. I don't know about you guys and your healthcare providers, but mine see me every 3 months, and I don't get a prescription until I have that appointment, which is incredibly important, especially when taking insulin. So I always try to make sure that those appointments are booked ahead of time. They're already in my calendar. It goes along with having everything in my calendar anyway. And then I set a week reminder. So I'll put an alert a week before, and then it just reminds me oh yeah, I have this doctor's appointment. I personally don't have to take any time off of work because I work for myself. So I just know, that appointment's coming up, and I have that mental note and that reminder. And then it's not something I have to worry about when I leave the doctor's office. I think the other thing too is that endocrinologists seem to book up extremely quickly. So I've noticed that if I don't make that appointment right at my appointment time, I end up having to wait 4 months instead of 3 months, or 5 months instead of 3 months to be able to see my endo. So I try my best to get that appointment scheduled as soon as possible so that I don't have to worry about it. Another thing I do is take a break when I need it. So easier said than done, because diabetes is 24/7, 365. It's really hard to have those breaks because you still have to be mindful of your blood sugar. You still have to be checking your numbers. You still have those alarms and alerts. You still have to take your medicine every day. But what I mean by taking a break is just taking a mental break. So maybe I'm not scanning my glucose meter as much as I normally do. Maybe I'm just doing it when it's absolutely necessary and not obsessing over the numbers in between. Maybe it's taking a break from journaling, so taking a break from logging and recording my food, or taking a break from just like being hyper aware. I think sometimes because diabetes is 24/7, 365, a lot of us experience burnout. And so we get to a point where we don't want to check our numbers anymore. We just kind of give up because it seems overwhelming and it seems like, how am I supposed to do all of these things? And when it gets to that point and you want to give up, you're compromising on your health. And that's also really hard, even if you need the mental break. So I think that scaling back a little bit is something that always helps me. So I won't check my blood sugar numbers as much. I'll still check them, but I'm not checking them like all the time, wondering what they are. I'm checking them when it's absolutely necessary. So like when I take medicine or when I take insulin or between meals. I log my food right now, so I do a lot of carb counting and I look up the carbohydrate values and the foods that I eat. So I won't do that. I'll put it on the back burner, and it sounds counterintuitive, but it just helps me just kind of clear my mind and clear that space in my mind, and makes me think less about diabetes, which I think is really important. So it's important to take those breaks. I think you can ask your healthcare provider what the safest way to take those breaks are for you, because everybody is a little bit different. I personally can put aside my numbers for a minute and not check as often, but some people might not be able to do that. So I think if you're feeling those overwhelming feelings and you're feeling that burnout, talk to your healthcare provider and just tell them, be honest, and they can help you with some ways to cope and some plans that can help you scale back a little bit if you need to, and then jump right back in when you're feeling a lot better. Another thing I do is I clue my family members in when I am feeling that burnout and when I'm feeling that irritability and that anxiousness. And it's a quick like, hey, I'm just like not feeling great with diabetes today. Give me some grace, basically, because sometimes those days are really hard. And I think that helps to have a support system. And it's not you like dumping or unloading on that person, but it's giving them the expectation that like my attitude might be crappy today. I might not want to talk a lot today. I have a lot on my mind, and it just is a way to communicate what's going on with you, because as we all know with diabetes, there are high highs and low lows. And so that communication is really important so that you're not hurting your partner's feelings, neglecting, your family members. And having that conversation, I think, eases a little bit of that stress and allows you to just like have that moment to be able to pull back, especially in these times where we are like all living in the same homes during the pandemic, where we are around people 24/7 and we never get that brain break or that alone time. I think it's so important to be able to say, hey, I need to step back for a second. Like, please just give me my space, and, allow that person to handle the situation, with what's best for the both of you. Or all of you. I say the both of you because it's been my husband and I for just so long. We don't have kids yet. So it's like one of those things that's like, it's just me and him. But, anybody in your family that you feel comfortable talking to, I think have that conversation and be open and honest about it. The last thing I do is I try to stay as organized as possible. So I sort out my oral medications into a pill box by day. So it has my AM medications, my PM medications, and then I have my insulin like set and ready to go. I am also just like really a freak about having kind of that go bag and go kit. Maybe one day I'll do like a what's in my bag with my kit so you can see all of the things that I typically keep on me. But I always try to be prepared, because you never know when you're going to have that low blood sugar, or when you're going to have a high blood sugar, or when you're not going to be feeling well, or when you're going to need certain supplies, or when your insulin pen is going to run out and you don't have an extra, or when you're going to need to take insulin in public. Like, there's so many variables. We don't just live our lives like in the confines of our home where everything is easy to grab and go. So I have things kind of planned out for multiple scenarios, just so I can have something that I can take with me that I know has almost everything that I might need in the worst case scenario. And then it makes me feel better and it makes me feel more confident about my diabetes management. And I don't feel scared about taking care of it on the go or not having what I need to be able to take care of it, or being at home and just being like, okay, I know my stuff is in here. Here's, I definitely took the pills that were in this row for this day. Like, I'm good. Peace out. I did what I was supposed to do. So I think staying organized kind of gets one extra thing out of your mind, one extra thing off of your brain, and then you can just move on autopilot. And I think all of us want that. Like, we want to be able to just go with diabetes in the background and not have it be this like overarching thing in the foreground all the time, because we are people first and we're people with diabetes second. Like, I say second, people with diabetes, like, it's not a personality trait. It's not a culture. It's like way down on the list. But it is something that dominates our daily lives and something that we're thinking about every second of the day. So if you can get something off your plate by just being organized, I think that really helps. I want to know what you guys do to manage diabetes burnout. So please leave it down in the comments below. I always love seeing what you have to say. And I think you add so much to the conversation, and just by chiming in, you help other people. And that is always the best thing for me. I love, after I post a video, going and reading the comments and seeing people talk about those feelings that they have, and seeing that other people feel them too, and that you're not alone, but also just like the tips and advice that come from this community. It just like makes my heart so happy, because when I first learned that I had diabetes, I literally did not know a single other person besides a family member that had diabetes. And my family member and I did not talk about it ever. So it was really hard for me, because I wanted somebody to commiserate with. I wanted somebody to talk to. And so I feel like that's sometimes what this conversation does and this comment section does, is it allows people to see that they're not alone and that they have friends in this, and that like, we're gonna be okay. We're gonna do it, and we're not alone in doing it. So I really appreciate those comments when you guys leave them. Please do chime in and let me know, what do you do to manage your diabetes so that it doesn't lead to burnout, and so that, it's smooth sailing as much as possible, because we know it's not ever 100% perfect. All right, guys, that's it for this video. I appreciate you watching so much. Thank you for being here, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye.